to dedication. Welcome, everyone. I'm looking at the dedication, though. I don't see the text. Mrs. Dominitz?
Yeah, I'll take the dedication off now that it's been seen.
Right.
I'll bring the text up.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope everyone had a wonderful holidays. Actually, it's such a shkacha prat, it's so divine providence that we're going to be learning 89 and 90. 90 is so much about the end of the holiday period, but let's just talk for a minute about Cheshvan. Cheshvan is very interesting. It's the only month of the entire year that doesn't have any notable days, Yom Paga. And one of the reasons that's given for that is that the Almighty wanted the Jewish people to use the month after the high holidays as a time to take in the lessons that they learned from the high holidays. Okay, and so we have an entire month. You think that Simchas Torah, Hoshana Rabbah, Shmini Atzeres, and Simchas Torah will last Wednesday and Thursday. And it's already there was a Friday and Shabbos and Sunday, right? And there's Monday, Tuesday until Rosh Chodesh, until the beginning of the new month. No, the fact is that the last days of the month of Tishrei, or all of the days of the month of Tishrei, the Chodesh Tishrei is called a Chodesh Kloli, a general month, not in this general in the sense that it has an impact on all of the days of the coming year. Chodesh Tishrei, the month of the holiday, is a Chodesh Kloli. Elul, the month before the high holidays, is a Chodesh Kloli. The other month, I'm sure everybody realizes, the other month of the year that's a Chodesh Kloli is Nisan, the month of Passover, of going out of Egypt. Okay, that means that every single day during the month of Tishrei has an impact on the whole coming year. That's in a general way. In a particular way, we're holding on the 27th of the month now, 28th, 29th, and 30th. These 4 days, we have a special ability to make an impact on all of those particular days of the coming year, all of the 7th days of the month of the coming year, 28th, 29th, and 30th. Okay, so it's very important to still be in high holiday mode. What is the high holiday mode? Again, we said it in the weeks past, right? That the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, right, is the days of fear, and Sukkot is the days of happiness. But all of those days are days of tshuva, or days of returning to Hashem. The high holidays ended on Hoshana Rabbah. That was last Tuesday. That was the last day of the high holidays. Right? Already Simchat Torah and Shmini Atzeres is the vessel, literally the vessel for all the blessings of the coming year. Okay, so we are already every person is supposed to just feel should find that place in themselves where they feel that confidence that God is with me, the bitachon, faith and trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that everything they need will be provided. That's the light that's supposed to show during every day of Tishrei, and we're supposed to overflow to carry that into the month of Cheshvan, and that's why there are no holidays. Something else very interesting, that the first tabernacle was built and completed in Cheshvan, and the Jewish people were made to wait until Nisan, the month of Nisan, right? And so it's for all generations, the month of Cheshvan complained, how come this incredible merit of the inauguration of the temple was taken away from me? And God promised that the third temple will be built in the month, will be inaugurated in the month of Cheshvan. Okay, and that's appropriate. That after the verse says, "Ani ledodi v'dodi li," I am for my beloved, and my beloved is for me. I am for my beloved. That's the month of Elul, where I go from below to above, and for my beloved is for me. That's the month of Tishrei, the holidays, where I'm drawing down all of the divine energy to go out to the coming year. Right, by the time Cheshvan comes, there's so much divine energy, pow, that's it, right? That will bring the building of the third Beis Hamikdash. Okay, thank you very much. I had one more thing to say, that the word in Hebrew, is everybody with me? Lisa, are you following me? Lisa?
Yes, I do follow you.
Okay, what happened to Sarah? She left. Okay, I don't know. Okay, Beseda. And I'm not sure who is 068582. Whoever you are, welcome to our intimate meeting. There are the three of us and my faithful assistant Reba Mina. Okay, so I wanted to say one more thing. I might have said it in the past.
Rabbi Leiter, there's more than three of us. Yeah.
Oh, really? How come I can't see anybody? Oh, maybe I'm not looking properly. 1 second. 1 second. Gallery view. No, that didn't help. 1 second. Nothing's helping here. 1 second. I'm sorry.
If you look at the participants list, you'll see all the names.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I'm saying, Sarah's there. Now, how do I move this? I'm so welcome. Ivan's here. Oh,
yes, I am.
Baruch Hashem, I see all the people. How do I make this smaller? I'm not succeeding. I got it. Oh, my gosh. Look at that. I thought there was just okay. So Dax, welcome, and Ivan, and I didn't do the translation. No, I'm sorry. We owe it to you. We'll do it afterwards. Hashem and Lauren, Dara, okay, Elena, Baruch Hashem. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Okay, so let's start with the text. This is okay. I was going to say something about Rosh Chodesh. I might have said it before, but it's very important to me, right? That there's a difference between the first day of the month of Tishrei, which is not only the Rosh Chodesh, the head of the month of Tishrei, how the head goes, the whole month goes, how the head of the year goes, the whole year goes. Okay, but there's also a very incredible difference between the first day of the month of Tishrei and the first day of the month of Cheshvan and all of the subsequent Rosh Chodesh beginnings of the month. Who is the one who blesses the month of Tishrei? We say God Almighty. God Almighty is the one that brings down all of the energy on Tishrei, and then it's the energy that God brings down is divided up. This is it's a delicate point. It's not that each Rosh Chodesh is watered down 1/12. In other words, I have some essence, right? The tea essence, coffee. I have the apple juice concentrate, whatever it is. And I'm taking the apple juice concentrate and I'm mixing it up with 12 times as much water. And each of those portions is divided up into each Rosh Chodesh. It is not the case at all. What happens is that all of the power that God invested in the world on Rosh Hashanah, that energy is divided into 12 equal parts, 12 pieces of a pie. And each piece is apportioned out to each of the months. And in this case, 13 months, because this is a leap year. That means that Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan, which again is this Tuesday night and Wednesday night, has 1/12 of the power of Rosh Hashanah, 1/12. And therefore, how I behave on the month, on those 2 days, Tuesday night and Wednesday night and Thursday, has the same power on the coming 30 days has had Rosh Hashanah had on the whole coming year. Okay, so Rosh Chodesh is an incredibly powerful day. It's a special day for women. It's when the moon it reappears. It's the power of Malchut, of the Shekhinah. The nations are compared to the sun. They here today, they're gone tonight. They disappear completely, but the moon wanes and waxes, but it never did. It waxes and wanes, but it never disappears completely. That's why it's a women's holiday. There's a tradition that women don't do laundry, other things. Okay, it's a different discussion. Maybe we'll do it another time. But everyone, it's a special tradition to wear nice clothes, to have a special Yom Tov meal, to celebrate the head of the month, the king of the month, because it's one, not watered down Rosh Hashanah, but 1/12. Okay, so let's look inside, please. Okay, this is a very, I was saying before that I was really humbled to give the opportunity to study with you these things. This these two sections, and so let's look inside. Okay, now we're starting on pay test. Okay, and he right away kicks into the text, but it's based on a verse from Psalms. Let me just pull out the verse from Psalms. 1 second. Oh boy, 1 second. Okay, yeah. So this is everybody is welcome to look it up. This is the 34th Psalm, the 13th, 14th, and 15th verses. So what does it say? I'm going to first read it. I'm going to read it in English, in Hebrew completely, and then in English. It's Mi Ha'ish HaChafetz Chaim, the famous verse. Who's the person who loves life? Oyev Yamim Lerois Tov. He loves days, Lerois Tov, and he wants to see only good. So what should he do? Nitzor l'shanim reira. He should protect, guard his tongue from speaking evil, and your lips from the talking deceit. Sur mera, push away evil, va'asei tov, and do good. Bakesh shalom, request good, request good and run after it, chase it, chase good. Okay, and by the way, for those who are not familiar, there was a very great scholar in the last generation. We're actually going to tell a story about him later. That he was the Chavetz Chaim, right? And he wrote the seminal work on negative speech, and he takes the title of his book from these verses. Who is a Chavetz Chaim? Who's a person who wants life? A person who guards their tongue from evil and their lips from deceit. That's where so he called his book the Chavetz Chaim. I'm just plugging in my computer. Fine. Okay, but the pshat, again, if anybody's not with me, please ask. The simple pshat explanation of this is it's really King David is talking about the future, talking about the world to come. Mia Ish, who's the person who wants Chafetz Chaim, who wants life, eternal life, the life of the world to come, Gan Eden, paradise, that he Oev Yomim B'Loros Tov, he just wants completely good. Who wants to live that good life? Because we all know that this world is complicated. It's not always completely good. Okay, who wants the completely good life that will come in the world to come? So he says, guard your teeth from speaking evil, and from your lips from speaking deceit. Push away evil. In other words, obviously, push away evil and do good. What does the Ba'al Shem Tov say? Ba'al Shem Tov says something completely different. Okay. But let's look inside the text, and we're going to be amazed. Okay. Ba'al Shem Tov says like this: if it happens to a person, and this is the shita, this is whoever is a Ba'al Shem Tov Yid, about whoever is a person who follows in the way of the Ba'al Shem Tov, everything that he sees is divine providence. There's nothing that happens in the world that is not divine providence. You stub your toe, right? You see your old friend, the headline in the newspaper, right? The whatever you see, right? A blue car, a green car, a red bird, an elephant, whatever it is, whatever you see, there's some divine providence in it. Sometimes we can tell what the message is, sometimes we can't. So what? Now he's going to give us one aspect of that, the total positive from the negative. The im is down in the adam. If it happens to a person, that he saw somebody do a sin. He saw somebody do a sin. Okay, it's obvious that it's a sin. Okay, that he heard about somebody. The people are talking. People are saying that whatever, this guy has this problem, blah 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 blah. This woman, blah, blah, blah. They're talking about that a person has a sin, right? He says, don't make a mistake. Do not make a mistake. Okay. The reason why you're hearing that, right, in 99.9999 cases, is because he's going to say, Yavchin, a person should check himself. So he has that thing, that sin in them. And the reason why he was being led to hear about it, why he heard it or he saw it, is not to fix the other person. No, not at all. Okay, there are times when that's the case, but it's a whole different set of circumstances. When a person hears or sees a sin, hears about a person doing a sin, or sees, God forbid, a person doing a sin, he says he has to check Shem Tov, that he has perhaps a Shemet. A Shemet is a light, and obviously, if a person had a certain sin in a gross way, in a negative way, in an obvious way, if he's struggling with that thing, okay, then of course you have to fix it. So he's talking about, what about when you see it in somebody else? It's a sign that a person has it in themselves in a very adin, a very subtle way, a way that a person might not have realized or noticed before. Well, the sheyargish, and he has to experience it, to feel it, right? The talking, to change himself. Okay. Okay. Now, I just one second. So I don't know. There are some people that gave me feedback that they like when I tell stories, but it's unbelievable. I just, on this Shabbat, this Shabbat was Shabbat gracious. I have to apologize to the people who wanted the class last Sunday. It just wasn't possible, not technically and not physically, to meet the class, and I felt bad because this last Shabbat, yesterday, was Shabbat gracious, the first Shabbat of the new year, and there were special intentions. There are, but the main thing is everybody should have had a good Shabbos, a good beginning. Everything goes after the beginning, okay. And as I said when we started, even the remaining 4 days of Tishrei are also each one a vessel for drawing down additional energy for a good and sweet year. Okay, so what does this mean when you see something negative? So it happened to be this Shabbat. I was sitting in a Farbrengen, and they told a few stories. Okay, so one story was about this famous rabbi, the Chofetz Chaim. It went out of my head. What was the Chofetz Chaim's name? Who knows? I can look it up in a minute, but who knows by heart? Barry, you don't know the name of the Chofetz Chaim?
Maybe it's Yisrael Meir.
Oh, Yisrael Meir Kagan. That's right, Kagan. Thank you very much. Yisrael Meir Kagan was his name. Okay, and so in Eastern Europe, you're talking about 150 years ago. So the Tsar, okay, all the countries were very much persecuting the Jews. Were serfs for the most part. It was just the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. People had very difficult lives. Most of the Jewish people lived as an agrarian, were farmers of some kind. They're somehow connected to the land. Okay, and always terrible difficulties. And so what happened that all the great rabbis of that generation, including the Chofetz Chaim, the Rabbi Rashab, many other people, they would gather together to try to find solutions. Some people had influence in the government, whatever. There was a needed to put. So there was one of those meetings happen, and all these great rabbis said together. And the Rebbe Rashab, who was the fourth Lubavitcher Rebbe, was very takif. He was very strong. That he had a certain action that was important for everybody to do. And there was another rabbi there that said, no. And Chofetz Chaim, again, this is a Chabad tradition. I didn't see a written Chabad tradition that the Chofetz Chaim says, he stood up and he said, anybody who disagrees with Rabbi Rashab Dovber of Lubavitch is disagreeing with Moses. Everybody got quiet. Because in the whole Torah, there's only one person that's famous for disagreeing with Moses. And that was Korach. Korach was the person who rebelled and got 250 others to rebel against Moses. So if one rabbi says that whoever disagrees with Rabbi Dov there of Lubavitch is like disagreeing with Moshe, it's tantamount to calling the third person that he's like Korach. So everybody got quiet, when Rabbi Kagan realized the inference, he immediately went over and he apologized. He says, not so what he meant. He was trying to say that blah blah blah. Okay, so that night, I told the story out of turn. I should have said that evening when Rabbi Dovber came home, he said to his son, who became the next Rebbe, I have what to think about in my Kriya Shmalamita. So what's Kriya Shmalamita? Kriya Shmalamita, again, I think we spoke about it 2 weeks ago. The time every day to think about the past day, where I was successful and where I was less than successful, and to resolve that tomorrow is going to be a better day. Not just to resolve it, to plan, to make a thing. If I constantly, if a person goes to bed 2 hours past his bedtime, he's going to expect that he's going to get up 2 hours past the time that he wants to get up in the morning. Okay, if you see that you're running into the same difficulties over and over and over again, the time to resolve that we're going to change our behavior and decide how we're going to change our behavior is in the evening time before we go to sleep. So that's a time for meditating about all of any problems that we had during the day. So when Rabbi Rashab said that he has his work cut out for him, when he says Kriya Shema, when he says the Shema by the bedside, what was he referring to? He was referring to that his strength of his opinion caused these two other rabbis to get into a fight, and to actually one of them had a very, very mild, but a sin. So he has to, Rabbi Rashab thought to himself, would have to think to himself, if I saw another person have a sin, what did we just learn? How do I have that in myself? Wow. And so that's a place where we actually see this situation in actuality. When you see something negative in another person, or you hear about something negative in another person, you're supposed to say, how do I have it in myself? There's a very tragic, I don't know, you know what, there's a story, but it's so apropos to what we're discussing, that I want to say that the grandfather of the Rebbe Rashab, not the grandfather, the great-grandfather, whose name was also Dov Ber. Okay, he was the second Lubavitcher Rebbe. So there's this idea of Yechidus. I think we discussed it before. What's Yechidus? Yechidus is when a Rebbe meets with one of his followers, a Chassid, and the Chassid has an opportunity to ask questions, to try to grow spiritually. It also was acceptable to ask blessings for physical blessings, that we should have a better year, right? That the cow should give milk and the crop should grow. Okay, but for the most part, Yechidus was about asking for spiritual things. So, or sometimes for asking for tikkun, to repair damage that was done by a sin. So the rabbi is there, okay, and a man comes to him and asks for a tikkun for a sin, and the rabbi Dober stopped the Yechidus, the meeting, and he went out. And only after a certain amount of time did he go back in, and gave the man a tikkun, and that was it. And so his son, his nephew, the Tzemach Tzedek, asked him what happened. And the Rebbe said that for me to give a person a tikkun, a way to repair the damage that a sin is, I have to empathize with him. I have to find that negative thing in myself somewhere. And when I can, on some level, emphasize with him or her, then I can give them a way to repair it. Again, in therapy, right? A therapist can't really help the person unless the person who's receiving the therapy trusts the therapist completely. He has to feel a unity, a oneness with that other person. Okay, to help somebody, right? It's a crucial thing. So the Rebbe said, I couldn't. So the sin, the truth is, one second. The problem is I don't remember the word for the sin in English, but it's so tragic and disgusting that I don't want to describe it. Oh, you know what? But it's written. It's written in the books. I'm going to say it. Right? It's this particular person was a caretaker in a cemetery, and he had a desire to be intimate with dead bodies. Okay, that was the thing, and that was so beyond the Rebbe, so beyond his ability to identify with the person and to be able to give him some way to repair the thing, that he had to stop the yechidus. And he went out and he was thinking, it can't be that this person came to me and I can't find some way to help him. And then, so it's very interesting. I think it's very interesting. What happened was he was thinking and thinking, and then he remembered once as a older child, another child over bar mitzvah, that he had once had a Russian coin, and on the Russian coin was the engraved the profile of a Russian princess who was dead for a century already. Okay, but the Rebbe, as an older child, remembered having some interest in thinking about what her life was like and what her life was like, and who she was, and he was able to take that experience of that such a subtle connection with the image of a person who passed away, and because of his incredible spiritual powers, he was able to find a tikkun, a way to repair the sin of that person. Okay, so that's the idea. The idea is that when we see something negative in somebody else, we have to identify it, find that thing in ourselves and fix it. And sometimes it takes work. You have to really look deeply. Maybe you have to speak to a mashpia. Maybe there's something that you don't even realize that you're doing that's inappropriate. So let's continue inside. Okay, all right. I hope that nobody left because of that terrible story. Okay, here we go. And so we said.
Are you, Rabbi? Sorry, are you looking for the word undertaker?
Am I looking for what?
Were you looking for the word undertaker?
Undertaker.
Was that the word looking for?
He wasn't an undertaker. He was the.
Can we drop the subject?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's go on. Kimchi, we'll talk about it later. Okay, if at all. Okay. Anyway, but the point is, okay, this thing about hearing about a negative thing, we have to identify it and take it inside. That was the point. Okay, said it. Anyway, let's look back inside. So we said that what happens when a person hears or sees a negative thing about somebody else, he has to check himself to find in a a very subtle way how that sin is in himself, the shiyagish, and he has to feel it. He has to identify it and isolate it, right? And fix himself. And it says v'omar pasuk tachboshet. We actually find in the Torah, in the book of Psalms, a tachboshet, a bandage, a way to how do we hold ourselves back from now? What's the obvious thing? You hear something bad about somebody else. What's the right way you want to say, oh, what a terrible thing that person did. How do you say? We have to tell him he did a bad thing. We have to reject his behavior. We have to push him out of the community. So what do you want to do? You're going to start talking about it. Hey, did you hear what this guy did? I'm going to tell one person, I'm going to tell another person. Right? That's the obvious reaction. It's the wrong reaction. We're supposed to look inside, not outside. So what's the tachboshet? The tachboshet is a bandage. How do you stop yourself? as it says, then now we're back to those verses. That how are we going to stop our tongue from talking about it and push away evil and doing what we have to do? We have to stop ourselves from talking about it, right? And push away evil and do good. And what's the good that we can do about it? The good we do about it is that when we hear or see something negative in something else, when we fix it in ourselves, we took something negative and we made it something positive. We transformed a sin into a mitzvah. Okay, and I'm going to think about that in a minute. We transformed a sin, that other person's sin, into a mitzvah. And I'm going to tell you something that maybe the main lesson that I learned in the highlights, but let's just finish first. For us, please look inside. Gam harush. Now he's going to say something unbelievable. What's going to happen then if a person, instead of thinking that, my mission is to blow that other person out of the water, is to tell him what a sinner he is. If instead of that, I hold myself back from speaking about him. I sur meira, I push away evil and do good. I fix that thing in myself and I do tshuva. If that's what I do, look inside. Va'az, Ron and Ivan, are you looking inside? And Shulamit. Va'az, gam harosha, yachzor b'tshuva. Not only that, then the evil person himself, the person who did the sin, without my saying anything to him, without anything on my part to do with that person, he himself will return in tshuva. Why? Since sheyichlo imo, I think when I used his sin to improve myself, I included him in that positive energy. I included him with me. Through unity, he became unified with me. Shekulam Adam Echad, that we all of the people who were far away became joined together. They became like one flesh. And then when he became like one flesh, then my positive action will have an effect on them. Now, okay, let's just finish because I want to. Right. Great. The Az Tigrom, a person. That's my, okay, forget. The Az Tigrom Shetiya Michla Vasetoy, that a person will cause, that the Az Tigrom, he'll cause, Shetiya, that what will happen, Michlal, that the other person will be joined and also do good. He'll also do tshuva, Shetases Harat Toy, he turned the evil into good, Bastovo, the Midas. You'll come to the end of the verse. If you, again, I really suggest everybody look it up. It's the 34th Psalm. I'm sure everybody in this class, if they don't, they're going to get a book of Psalms and have it in the house. It's the 34th Psalm, the 13th and 14th and 15th verses. Okay, that the 15th verse ends with, as Tavolami, he'll come to the level of Bakeshalom V'rod Fehu, that a person is desired peace in the whole world, the V'rod Fehu, and he chases after it. Now, okay, I want to say that we finished. I want to share one more story. It was the truth was, it was a question that I had, okay, but I heard it from a friend. A woman, a doctor who was a woman, comes to a Chabad representative, okay, and she says, I can't live anymore. This is a true story. I heard it from Rabbi Elik Friedman. Rabbi Elik Friedman heard it from the rabbi. Okay, so we're talking about a real story. A woman says, I can't live anymore. And the rabbi says, why? What happened? And the woman says, because of my negligence, I killed a patient. He says, what are you talking about? She said, the protocol said do A, B, and C. I did A and B, but I was whatever. I moved to a different patient. I never came back because I didn't see the person die. I caused that person to die. Okay. So the rabbi said, you're you're making a complete mistake. Wait 1 second. L'chaim. The Torah says that there are certain things that are in the hands of God. Rain is in the hands of God. Mashiach is in the hands of God. And life and death is in the hands of God. You can't say, he said, I'm going to tell you something. He said to her, I'm going to tell you something I heard from the Rebbe. The Rebbe told me this. You can't say that you killed a person. When a person is going to die is decreed in heaven. That's what the whole idea of Rosh Hashanah is. You're going to be written in the book of life or the book of death. You can't kill a person. It's not shaykh. Only person who can give life and take life is God. Okay? So get that out of your head. Okay? Then the only question is, why were you involved in it? Why did God have to make you part of this tragic situation? Okay? And the same thing in any situation, chas v'shalom, when if we cause harm to another person, okay, it's not me that's causing them harm, it's God that's causing them harm. The question is, why was I involved? And so she said, well, he asked her, why were you involved? Why did this happen to you? And she said, her mind is racing because all of a sudden he took away this incredible weight that she'd been carrying around for a long time. He says, obviously I have to change the way that I treat my patients. I can't let this thing happen again. Oh, he says, no, that's what you have to learn. Okay, and when you what does the Talmud say? I think it's in Yoma. Yoma is the book about Yom Kippur. It says that when you do one mitzvah, person has a geschmack. He enjoys doing that. He does another mitzvah. Unfortunately, it's the same thing when a person does an avera. When you do an avera, sometimes the avera feels good. I said we told stories about that, I think, last week, 2 weeks ago. So a sin leads to another sin. What's supposed to happen? What is the system that God set up? It's supposed to be that a sin, an avera, leads to a mitzvah. Okay, in her case, she didn't kill him. God took that person's life away. But when she learns a lesson from it, she did a sin. She did something inappropriate. She was supposed to do A, B, and C. She only did A and B. The person passed away. What is she supposed to learn from it? From now on, she has to be over the top strict to also do A, B, and C, right? From that tragic situation, from that avera, what came out? A mitzvah that now she's dealing with her patients in an incredible way that they were never handled that way before. A positive thing came out of it. The whole point of a sin is that a Jewish person has the ability to turn a sin into a mitzvah. In the Talmud, it says that's what it means when a person does tshuva with love. When he returns to God with love, he turns his zadainais, the sins that he did on purpose, he turns them into schuyos, into merits. Right? He transforms a sin into a merit. And that's what we're talking about here. That's the context of the text here. When I see or hear about a sin in another person, and when I take that sin and I look in myself and I find where I have that negative thing and I resolve to fix it and I work to fix it, I'm taking a sin, in this case, another person's sin, and I'm transforming it into a mitzvah that I become a better person. And when I became a better person, then not only that, but the other person is also, elevated, and he does tshuva too, okay? And if you don't believe me, you're all shouting. You don't believe it. Welcome, some people just came. Welcome, everybody. I saw a book. Last Shabbos we read Bereshis. This week we read Noach. We're going to be reading Noach, the about the flood. After that, oh wow, I have something unbelievable to say about Leiflecha. Anyway, all the parshas towards the end of Bereshis, it speaks about Yaakov and his son Yosef. Okay, so we all know the story that the brothers were jealous of Yosef. He had his issues also. Okay, and they sold him to be a slave, right? And and he went to the house of Potiphar. He was sold down to Egypt, right? And he was seduced. He was trying to be seduced by the wife of the master of his house, and he didn't accept her advances, and he was thrown into prison. And from prison was the whole. We're going to speak about it in the next piece also. From prison, he became the viceroy of Egypt. Okay, you'll all remember this in 5 minutes when we go to the next piece. Got to go fast. So what's the connection here? So it's so unbelievable. It says when the sons brought back the coat of many colors to Joseph, to Jacob, to Yaakov, and he said, "Do you recognize this coat?" And it was filled with blood. They slaughtered an animal. They put blood on it. And do you recognize this coat? It was obvious, at least to the casual observer, that the person who had been wearing the coat had been attacked, and his blood was all over the coat. And do you recognize this coat? Yaakov said, "Yes, it's the coat of my son Yosef." Okay, then he must be dead, right? And it said that Yaakov tore his clothes and he put on sackcloth and he mourned for many days. He never stopped mourning. He says, and the word is, 1 second. I don't want to say it incorrectly. Oh, here. It says, the verse says, I hope you're all following me. V'yakumu al banav v'kol b'nai Yosef. He got up from all of his sons and daughters that were trying to convince them that Yosef was dead. That they were trying to console him. V'yima'en, and he rejected their consolation. Lisnachem, he rejected the consolation. Okay, now 30 verses later, when it's speaking about Yosef and Yosef rejecting the advances of the wife of Potiphar, okay, she actually grabs his coat and wants to pull him towards her. Okay, what does the verse say? It says Vahi achar dvar me'ela, when Joseph was the head of the household of Potiphar, she saw the wife of the master saw Yosef and the Tomash, and she said, "Lie with me." And what's the word that it uses? V'yima'en, the same exact word. He refused, and we say it was the refusal of his father Yaakov that gave Yosef in a different country at a different time the ability to refuse the advances of the wife of Potiphar. Everybody is connected. In this case, it was the refusal of Yaakov that led to the refusal of Yosef, but the Ba'al Shem Tov was saying that when we see or hear a negative thing about somebody else, and we fix it in ourselves, that human Jewish connection, we are in fact going to impact on that other person and help him also go out from that negativity. We're going to sur merava asay tov. You can read it, push away evil and do good. Don't read it. How do we push away evil? By doing good. When we do good, we turn the sin into a mitzvah. Okay, I talked for 40 minutes straight. I'm sorry. Any questions? Was that clear? No. Can somebody tell me if I was clear? Ron, you're my biggest critic. Thank God you're here. Was I clear?
Yeah, I think that made sense.
Okay.
It was clear. It was very clear. I like the part of Yaakov and Yosef.
Okay, so that's the thing. The people are connected, but this thing that when it's something that you have to internalize. How many times a day do people gossip? We hear something negative about somebody else. How many times a day we're walking down the street, we see a person do something that's inappropriate? Okay, what is our reaction? Our reaction: how do we turn an avera into a mitzvah? How do we turn something negative into something positive? When we, instead of chasing after that person, saying, "Wow, look what they did. Let's call them off, tell them off." No. When we look into ourselves and we find that on a very delicate, refined, subtle level, we find it in ourselves and we fix it in ourselves, we're transforming, we're making unity between ourselves and the person who sinned, and we're elevating it. And that was the two stories about the Rebbes, right? One of the Rebbe Rashab, where he saw this negative thing happen and he even a tzaddik had to fix it in himself. And the zweite Zach, the other thing of that we were not going to talk about again, but about the cemetery and that. Okay, so that's the first word. Any questions?
Yeah, I have something that's very clear in what you're saying, and maybe that's the link. If someone comes to get I'm not sure, blessing because they did a sin, is the way that the person helps them, because giving a blessing doesn't seem
Not about
like the
giving a
person.
blessing. I wasn't clear. A tikkun means, let's just say, you know what? If a person has a temper, okay, a person has a temper, okay, so he would go to his advisor. If I could go to the Rebbe, I go to the Rebbe, I go to an advisor, say, what do I do? I sometimes lose control of my temper. Okay, so if your advisor can give you an advice, one's advice, before you open your mouth, count to 10, right? Or I heard somebody once say, run out of the room before you lose your temper. I'm demanding from you, the advisor said to the student, run out of the room. Better to look like an idiot than to lose your temper, okay? Or if a person, there's in some of like one of the foundation books of the Kabbalah of Tzfat is called Reshit Chachma. And Reshit Chachma, there's a whole section there about tikkun amidot, fixing your negative attributes. Okay, and a person says, I want you to learn that chapter 50 times. 50 times. Don't move, just close yourself in a room and learn it 50 times. That's called a tikkun, to find a way to repair, to have it. Okay, it's not about a blessing at all. Okay, did I make sense just now?
Yes.
It's a way to repair. Okay, that in the same way, when we see something negative to somebody else, we have to look how to repair that. Use the same word to do a tikkun in ourselves. That was the teaching here. That people make the mistake. They think that God is showing this to me because I want to move on to the next thing, but you know what? If I wasn't 100% clear, I want to be clear, but I want to learn the next section, and it won't take us very long, and then we can go back to questions after, because I really made a commitment to try to keep the share to only to an hour, okay? Because there's some people have to leave.
Rabbi, if I may, just 30 seconds. When
wait 1 second, Ivan. I'm looking at my watch. 30 seconds. Go.
Good. When we try and help somebody change their negative behavior, and they are not responsive and they don't want to, that's the issue. Is complicated for me. Why can't we reach them?
Okay, but he's saying that that's the mistake most people make. They think when they see something bad in somebody else, it's because God is giving me a message I'm supposed to help them. That's not the case, right? We all know that in most cases, people don't like to hear criticism. Everybody who loves criticism, raise your hand. Nobody likes criticism. The chances of our having an effect on that person are very slim. In fact, it will lose our credibility with them, and we won't, and they'll even push them farther away into negative things. Okay. The level of identification and empathy and friendship that a person has to have with somebody else, and the way you have to say it, is so deep that in most cases it's not the case. No, that's the klipa here, Ivan. That's the joke that the evil inclination is playing on us. It wants us to think that we're there to help the other person. It's not that way. It's to fix it in ourselves. Okay, I want you to think. You know what? It's a complete 180-degree turn from what you said. Please think about it. Okay, and again, I'm going to answer all the questions in 9 minutes when we finish. Everybody look inside. We're in Tzaddik. Okay, now I want to say, this is so unbelievable divine providence. We just had the high holidays. I don't know about you guys, but I'm on a high. I danced all of Simchas Torah. I forbranged. I sat with friends, and we tried to bring into ourselves the experiences of an entire month of high holidays on Shabbos Bereshis. And I tell you, I feel, Bli Ein Hara, not invincible, but I really feel that God is with me, and what they say, when you do what's right, God will do what's left, right? There's not, Baruch Hashem, there's no option except to do right. Things negative attributes, bad characteristics, bad habits that were plaguing me from before Rosh Hashanah. Today I look at them, goodness, nothing. I'll never go back there again. Okay, and that's exactly what he's speaking about. Look inside, please. He says, "Yesh bechina she'achar aloysa l'mayla." But we trust there's a certain situation that happens after a person went to a high level. We had Simchas Torah, we had Shabbos Bereshis, we had Yom Kippur, we had Sukkot. You're sitting in the Sukkah, you make the blachas and the lulav and esrog. The Sukkah is the surrounding energy. The lulav and esrog draws it into our hearts. We feel transformed. We feel that God is with us. The Sukkah is God hugging us, literally putting his hands around our back, taking in the parts that I want to hide, taking the parts that I don't want anybody to see, that I'm disgusted with myself. God is saying, I'm hugging you in the sukkah. I'm surrounding you. I'm taking all of you. I want all of you. I'm not going to let any of you go. That's such a high. It's the gem, the emerald, the diamond that's in each of us, right? That nothing, an emerald, no matter how dirty it gets, a little bit of water, a sturdy cloth, and you can clean it off. And everybody has that emerald in them. You have to see the emerald in everybody, to see the emerald in yourself. That's where we're supposed to feel after the holidays, and that's what he's talking about here. And I'm sharing that with everybody. And if you don't feel it, I'm giving it to you. You are an emerald. You are a diamond, right? And you are. God is hugging you, and you have a new strength for the entire coming year. Okay, and nothing and no one can take it away from you. Okay, I'm giving it to you now. Okay, so that's what he says. Yesh b'chinas she'achar aloysa l'mayla. There's a situation sometimes, and it's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but maybe a week from now, some situation comes. Somebody aggravates you, or a particularly tested situation where you're being tested. All of a sudden, everything's closing in on us, if the falling around us. He said, that's what he says. When a person feels on a spiritual high, and what happens? He goes back down again. Okay, he's where he was before. The same stupid things are bothering me. The same difficulties that I had before are there again. Where's that consciousness that I had just a day or a week or a month ago, right? Why does it happen to a person? Listen to this, my friends. Listen to this. I'm getting to know everybody here a little bit better. I'm giving you this unbelievable gift now. He says, why do we go down again? Is it because the high wore off? No, never, no way. The reason why we're going down is because with our new strength that we attained from the high, we are going to go back down to the places that we were before, to elevate the lower levels that we were at before. Now that we went to a higher level, we have the ability, the consciousness, the perception, the strength, the fearlessness to go down and to elevate the lowest levels that we were before. Okay, and this is it's a line from Shir Shirim, from the Song of Songs, right? It says, "Rachatz tes ragli," right? The verse says, "I washed my feet, and I'm going to get them dirty again," right? Okay, I washed my garments, and I'm going to get them dirty again. Okay, garments are our thought, speech, and action. Our feet are the lowest part of the person. Those are the persons that dip into the negative areas. Okay, and that a person must realize that the reason why they're going down. What's the verse? The verse is, I clean my feet. I should get them dirty again? Of course not. Why is God taking away our revelation? Why is he bringing us down to this place, this negative place, this place? It seems like I was there before. Deja vu, it's happening to me again. I'm going to start crying. I don't want to be in this place, right? But I can't find God. He's going to say to me, the secret of Rotzu V'Shuv. It says we learned it about 3 months ago. The angels, Rotzu V'Shuv, they run forward 3 steps and they fall back 2 steps, forward 3 steps and back 2 steps. Why is it? Why do they fall back 2 steps? Is it because they're being punished? Is it because they blew it? No, it's because we have to integrate the experience. Okay, we come back to integrate, not only to integrate, he says here even more, to elevate the lower level, to bring it up. Again, just say the words, Ratzu v'shuv. Ratzu from the word ratz, running forward, v'shuv and returning. That's the secret of life. Nobody stays at the same level all the time. You can't stay at the same level all the time, right? You have to be moving forward and moving back, moving forward and moving back. But people think they're moving back because they lost it. It's a lie. It's not true. The reason why they're coming back is because they're supposed to elevate the lower level where they were before and to bring it up to that high again. That's what he says. He says that's nikra katnus for godless. We had these concepts before. Katnus means smallness. Smallness means, godless means greatness. Katnus means that I can't feel God. Why would God put me here? I was flying. God is hugging me. I'm invincible. I'm going to take the lessons of my holidays and I'm going to run with it for an entire year, at least until Pesach. Okay. Why would I come down? What's this shuv business? Running ahead, it's the high level. Shuv is the return, right? Why do I go from greatness where God is with me, gadlut, right, to a place of katnut, smallness? Why? Because I'm supposed to elevate the lower levels, the places that I were for. The reason why God created a situation where I feel alone, where I don't feel godliness, is because he wants me to pray to Hashem. He wants me to take where I'm holding and elevate it. When I break out of that lower level and I bring myself again I break out of the shuv, out of the descent, right? And I push myself forward back to the ratzu, the running forward. I'm taking all the lower levels that I was before and I'm elevating them. Okay, that's the word. Ubakol Yerida. He says, again, there's so many things. These are the words. I should have put. We should, Riva Mina. We should have put it on a chart. That's call the line of the 2 lines go together. It's rotz of a shuv, run ahead and fall back. Why am I falling back? To elevate the level that I was at before. It says, and the explanation of that in Chassidut is, Dara, why aren't you shouting it out? Kol Yerida. Every going down, everybody, say it with me by yourself. Every going down is for what? For the sake of the going up after, the going up even more. When I was at a high and I feel I'm losing it. Katnus. Why am I going down there? Because God wants me to take the places where I'm at and take those places and transform them into something positive. And to turn them into positive. And then I'm going to go to an even higher level because again, it's the Averis turned into a mitzvah. The negative thing becomes positive thing. The places that were giving you trouble before, now I'm going to take them to the high place that I was at before and even higher. Call Yerida Aliyah. Every going down is for the sake of going up. Every ratzu, every running ahead is going to have its shuv, its return, right? Nobody can stay at the same level. You know what? There's an interesting I hope am I being clear, guys? It's 10 o'clock. We're almost finished. But
I think you're being clear.
Okay,
Totally clear.
Okay, say it. Right. What does it mean you can't stay at that high level? That high level is ecstasy. It's so high, right? We all know what I'm talking about, okay? I'm not talking about drugs. I'm not talking about liquor. I'm talking about when you accomplish something. The fum sara agra, according to the effort, is the reward. You got to that higher level. You're shining. You ran your 8-minute mile. You dealt with this personal situation in a positive way. You're flying, okay? But you can't stay there all the time. He says, tainug tamidi, ecstasy or pleasure that's constant stops being pleasure. It even become painful, right? Why is that? Why didn't God make people that pleasure is constant. We can always be in a state of pleasure. People who use drugs, they want to be in a state of ecstasy all the time. It burns out their brain and their body, right? Why didn't God make us that way? No, he made us that way. He didn't make us that way because he wants us to come back into the world, into the lower level, and to elevate the places we're at before. Kol Yerida Tzricha Yosef. Every going down is the same going up. Rotzav Shuv. The running, the formula is you run ahead in order to fall back, in order to run ahead again. You run ahead to that new level with new strengths, new revelations. You come down, back. You're faced by the same things, the katnus, the smallness, because now you have the tools to elevate them. When you call out to Hashem with those new consciousness, you're gathering up all of those sparks that were inaccessible to you before, and you're elevating them to a higher level, right? That's what it means. Pleasure that's constant stops being pleasure. Okay, let's just finish inside. It says, V'nikra, again, we said that's the secret of Rotzav Shuv. I hope everybody, every single person here that I know, even a little bit, this applies to you, applies to me. Why do we run forward? Why? Because we're going to come down to elevate the lower places and to run forward again. Okay, now listen to what he's going to say here. Nikra Katan Sugaz, that's called small-headedness, where a person feels far away from God, the godless, and a person great-headedness, bigness, when a person feels close to God. Ubekol Yerida. Now listen to this, please, guys. With every going down on the shuv, the return, okay, Tzorech Azhara, we have to be careful. Eich lachzor ulalois. How to come back and to go up again. Why? Because some people get mixed up. They think the going down is because they didn't deserve the high level. They think the going down is because they lost it. Maybe they sinned, or maybe they fooled themselves in the first place. 101 reasons why we want to tell ourselves we're nothing. It's not true. We're a diamond. Each person is a diamond, right? But he's the Ba'al Shem Tov is warning us. The words, we have to be careful. Have to be careful to come back up again, right? You shouldn't stay at that lower place, right? That would be the Yetzer Hara, the evil guy fooling himself. Ba'al Shem Tov, there are some people that blew it. They instead of, it's like a tow rope on a ski run, right? You just see this rope running. You don't know what it is. You got to hold on to it and take it back. At some point, when you have the shuv, the return, when you're at that lower place, and the purpose of being at that lower place is to take the situations that used to irk us, that used to hold us back, and to elevate them to the highest level. Okay, but if a person doesn't realize that was the purpose, he could get stuck there. He doesn't know he has to hold on to the tow rope and to take him out. And by the way, that's that same story that I said before about the woman doctor, right? This thing happened to her. Why? Why should they have to go down? Why did she have to think that she actually killed somebody? This whole, but it's true anytime we hurt somebody else, anytime we're in a difficult situation. Why are we there, right? The Yerida, why did the coming down, why did it happen? Because of the Aliyah Yosef, it has to be an elevation even more. We're supposed to get to a higher place, not to get stuck at the lower level. That's the thing. I just 1 second before I release everybody. I took pages and pages of notes and I didn't look at them. Just let me look at the notes for 1 second. All right, I have a very long story, but I think it's after 10. I'm gonna just 1 second. Mm-hmm. In one of the commentaries, it says that if a person goes into a pit, he would tie a rope around himself so he can get out. Okay, if we realize when we're on the high that there's going to be a descent, every descent is for the sake of the elevation happens after. If we realize there's going to be a descent, then we would treat the elevation higher. We would bring the consciousness into us in a stronger way. We will prepare for the descent. That when we go to the descent, it won't hit us as hard. that we'll be able to climb out of the descent as quickly as possible. And that's the whole story here. Realize that the descent is part of the ascent, and that when we have the ascent, make sure we've infused ourselves and connected ourselves with the truth, with the divine, with the Almighty, with the clarity, okay, of where it's taken. That when the descent does happen, I'm ready for it, right? And I'm not going to go into free fall, God forbid. It says Yaakov Chevel Nachalato. Yaakov is the rope of his portion, right? We go down. The descent is we have our life preserver on already. The rope is around our waist. We know that it's going to be a temporary thing, and that there's a purpose to the descent. The purpose is to bring us up to a higher elevation than before. Let me just see. Oh, okay. Let's say Lisa, or we already just talked about these things. Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay. By the way, I just want to say it's 6 minutes after 10. Anybody who has to go is released. I don't have to feel that you have to stay with us. Okay. And we're going to but anybody has any questions, I can ask questions now. And anybody who wants to hear the questions, you can just put into the chat that you want to get a recording of the session, and then you just don't listen to the first hour, listen to the last 5 minutes, and you'll get the questions. I want to say now, I was reminded to say by Mrs. Dominitz that we spoke in earlier classes about a chart about the 10 Sfirot in English and Hebrew, and about an Aleph-based chart with all of the numerical values, the pronunciation of the letters, and what they look like. Both are being placed as we speak in the chat room. Is that okay? Correct, Mrs. Dominitz? Yeah, she said she's going to put it now.
Yes.
She's going to put it now into the chat room, and anybody who wants to download it is be our guest. Okay, now, first of all, thank you very much. For me, I think it was the most exciting sharing that we did since we started this program already 6 months ago. Thank you very much for participating. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Rabbi, this is Ivan again. I mean,
Ivan, when you in my screen, when you speak, Ivan, you light up. You okay? I can see. Yeah.
When you want to protect someone against themselves, when you see them doing something that's going to hurt them, and you're not, the issue I have with this situation is some people can't be reached, and I feel guilty that I can't reach them because I know that what they're doing, they're going down a path that's going to ultimately be detrimental to what they're doing.
I hear you, Ivan, and I very respectfully want to bring you back to what we learned together, that the Ba'al Shem Tov says that the reason why in most cases, almost all cases, when we see something negative in somebody else is because we have it in ourselves. And when we fix that thing in ourselves, we will help them to come out of it. Okay, and I use that thing about the connection between Yaakov and Yosef, but I want to say something more. Okay, I want to say something more. That first initial desire to go fix them, the Ba'al Shem Tov was saying, is a way of running away from the truth in myself, that I have to fix it in myself. And I'm sharing with you a personal truth, Ivan, that once a person makes that effort to fix it in themselves, they can find the way to help the other person. The mistake is to identify what we're seeing of the person as the reason to go to them. And that's not what the Ba'al Shem Tov said. He said, you're supposed to see it in yourself. Once you fixed it in yourself, and you can love the person, just hate or be displeased with the action, then there might be a way for you to help them. I say that respectfully, but I want you to please think about it, please.
Okay. Yeah, 100%. I'm agreeing with you, but it's not exclusive and only.
Okay. Besides, we live in a world. In this week's Torah portion, we spoke about Adam and Eve eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. What is that? What did they do? You know, we live by angels. They also, God says now that man and woman are like angels. Angels also know good and bad, but the angels, it's separate. There's good and there's bad. By people, we mix it up. Because
we have both.
That's right. But it's mixed up, right? Okay, so we have to identify, right, how to not to separate the good from the evil. And that's the Ba'al Shem Tov was trying to help us with that. Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Ivan. Any other questions? Ron, hit me.
Okay, so when you say you go, we're at the high because we had an insight, or just a high from the high holidays, and we come back to our regular.
Everybody, I don't know if everybody. Ron is a consultant. How many times when I sat with you, Ron, you made me high. You saw, I realized things about my behavior, about the behavior of my organization. I was flying, right? And I thought, nothing's going to stop me from transforming, and then when you get into the nitty gritty, it's not so easy, right? Every Ratsu running ahead, right, has a shuv, has a return, right? Okay. So what are you going to say?
Well, but then you said, if you come back, use your own example, and you come back to the norm or your daily regular way of
whatever, the places that were troublesome before, yeah.
You're saying that we're supposed to correct things from the past, that like revisit those things that so we can go higher by taking those things to a higher level.
Okay.
But they're past. You can't go back and you said something, or let's say you procrastinated. Now when you procrastinate, you go back and you say, oh yeah, I saw I procrastinated. Well, you did. It's over. It's done. You can't re-procrastinate. How do you elevate something? I'm just using an example of procrastination.
But you know what? I guess I that was what I was trying. You're saying exactly what I tried to say. Torah says that you can change the past. You can. You can take a sin and turn it into a mitzvah. If a person sinned and that sin made them do tshuva and they became determined not to do that sin again, that sin became the stepping block to a positive this. That negative act, that thing they did on purpose, becomes a merit. It becomes a mitzvah. I thought that that's what it means, that a sin can become a mitzvah. Yes, we can change the past. Everything is a creation. The physical world is a creation, right? Space is a creation. Time is also a creation. And God gave us the ability to transform the past. Yes.
Rabbi, I want to say one word.
Wait, just 1 second.
Behavior.
Ivan, 1 second. Ron's in the middle. I apologize. Just 1 second. Let him finish.
No, I'll sit with that. That's
Okay.
That's helpful to think about.
Okay. Okay.
Rabbi,
No.
it's our past behavior. When we don't do the same past behavior, then that's the way to change the past. Your behavior alters.
That's right. Because
The word
the
I'm
whole
adding is
world
behavior.
was created. Each person is a whole world. It's each in a certain sense. Everything around us is a stage for us to perfect ourselves, to correct our past, and that way to make it something negative and something positive, something less than perfect and something perfect. That's what it is. I want to say, I don't know how many. Hey, I think we put my video. I don't know if my video. I made my video just before Shabbos this week, but the video was about what does it mean Asher Bora Elokim Lasos. We say in Kiddush that God created the world to do. It shouldn't say that. It said Asher Bora Elokim Vasa. It should say that God created the world and He made it. In other words, that expression, the asa, it happens a number of times in the creation story. It doesn't say, and God created the world to asa, and He did it. It says we create the barak asher bara lakim lasos. He made the world to do. Every situation has something that we're supposed to do about it. A Jew never has a situation where it's hopeless, ever. We always have the ability to transform. And I think I gave the best example here. A person died. That means the doctor's life is over. She caused somebody else's death. Not at all. You know what? It maybe wasn't something that was so pleasant, but it was all part of God's intention. He wanted it to happen to transform the world. That person was supposed to die at that time, and I was supposed to be involved in it so that I could go to a higher level. That transforming the past into something from negative to positive. That's the biggest truth that there is. That's the power of a Jewish person, to take the past and to turn it from negative to positive. Anybody else? Dax, nice to see everybody. Lisa, Sarah, Sarah, from my friend from Mexico.
I want to say that Boreolam is wonderful that he gives us an opportunity every day to change our past to better. So
right.
It's really it's very nice.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's beautiful.
That's right.
Yeah.
We run ahead, and why do we fall back? To take all the other stuff and bring it up again. That's what it is. It's such an ecstatic way of living.
Yeah.
It's so Kabbalistic. It's unbelievable, right? Baruch Hashem.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. It is.
Everyone has hope, huh?
What, Shalamit? What?
Everyone has hope.
Everyone has hope. It's never,
Including me.
ever,
And
never hopeless.
You know a lot about my past. I'm asking you if you think I have hope.
You have a lot of hope. Shalom, you make it to my class every week. You're a special person. You're select.
Well, I missed it for around a month, unfortunately, but I was very preoccupied.
Baruch Hashem, you made it back. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the message, my friends, to start the year with. Asher bara Elokim lases. God made the world to do. Right? There's never, when we realize that he put us here to transform the world, a person could think, I'm supposed to do something. God is God, and I can improve on God even if I try to change something that my wife did. What are you doing? What's wrong with what I did? Right? People get insulted when you try to fix what they did. No, God made the world for us to improve on it. Only we can improve on it. Only we can transform it into something better. God made it that way, right? Right, and that's the idea. And that's not only true. It's true about the world, but it's true about ourselves. Right? Okay. Negative things are there to be transformed. I'm talking to myself like I'm talking to you, but I think there's no more pervasive, happy, consciousness-lending idea in all of Judaism. Okay. That we can transform every aspect. All we have to do is want to. Asher bora Elokim lases. Okay, my friends. Eliana, right? No, it's not. Eliana, welcome. And Karen, I'm not sure which Karen that is, but welcome. Everybody, welcome, and please bless my blessings. I told you already. I'm giving you part of my high, right? God is hugging us still. We're still in the after party after Sukkot. God is taking all of us in. God is showing us that we are, each of us, a diamond, a diamond. And that's the energy to go out with into the coming year. Okay, that each person is filled with strength, and Hashem will make you successful. Okay, it should be a Shana Tova Umetuka, a good and sweet year. Okay, if there are anything that were not clear, you can put questions on the chat or send me an email, as we said many times before. Under any circumstances, we're looking forward to seeing everybody next Sunday, Mr. Hashem. Okay.
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shavua Tov.
Take care. Shavua Tov. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
All of my friends.
Rabbi.